powerful, mighty word from the Lord. The revelation is just so intense, but yet a baby can understand it, but it will transform. It's practical knowledge and tools that you can use that will help you in your walk with the Lord. And so we do welcome you to come out and be a part of the service as he prophesies, as he ministers the word of the Lord on Sunday in our worship service at 2 p.m. Again, we're located at 14111 East 7 Mile Road, and the service time is at 2 p.m. Also, on our show, the Community Shall Be Restored television program. We have some upcoming guests, but first I'd like to talk to you about our past guests that we've had. Prophet has brought on Mayor Mike Duggan to the program. Mayor Mike Duggan, he and Prophet were in the Chronicle together, and he said that Prophet Banks is a force for the community, and he's also plugged into everything that's going on. He said he's a force for good, and he's plugged into everything that's going on into the community. When he came on the program, he was talking about the vacant lot sales, how they are only $100 now, and people were getting the deeds. Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Amen. People were getting the deeds the very same day. So that was a very exciting program. Prophet Banks have also brought on Charlie Langton of Fox 2 News. Charlie is just a great guy. He's a great friend of Prophet Banks, and he's been on numerous times. But the one time he was on, he was talking about the bankruptcy that the city went through, and he was talking about the advantages and the disadvantages of the bankruptcy. Charlie Langton was saying that how he thought that we would come through it really well, but that there were some collateral damage that was done. But in the end, the city will come forth better. Prophet Banks has also had Kenneth Cockrell Jr. on the Community Shall Be Restored program.
Former president of the Detroit City Council.
Amen. Former mayor, former president of the Detroit City Council, and he was on, and he was just talking about what's going on with the organization that he was located with, Detroit Future City at that time. David Whitaker was on the program.
David Whitaker is the attorney for the Detroit City.
He's the head of our legislative policy division for the City Council.
Okay, he was on the show along with, what's his partner?
Marcel Todd.
Marcel Todd, both of wise men in our city. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
right.
And they were both informing us of some great things that's going on. And some of our upcoming guests now, we have a special guest today. We have City Council member Raquel Lopez on the program. Amen. From District Number 6. And on January the 30th, our prophet is bringing on City of Detroit, Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. He was on the program before, but he'll be telling you all about how to save your homes, about foreclosures and all those kinds of things. On February the 6th, we have President of the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus, Livonia Perriman, will be with the prophet on the program.
And Michigan Democratic Black Caucus have put many people in office, and city council, state representatives. Is one of the most powerful political organizations in the city of Detroit, Michigan Democratic Black Caucus.
Yes, and so she will be here February the 6th. The president, amen. February the 13th, we have City of Detroit City Council member Andre Spivey, District Number 4.
All right.
He'll be on the program. February the 27th, we have Senator Burt Johnson. Senator Burt Johnson, he will be on the program. He contacted the prophet, amen.
Yes,
and so
right.
he's been scheduled to be a guest, and we look forward to hearing what things are going on in his up there in Lansing, amen. Also on March the 5th, Prophet Banks have City of Detroit City Council member President Pro Tem George Cushenberry.
All right, George Cushenberry. All right.
Yes, he'll be on the program.
All right.
And then on April the 30th, our prophet is bringing in the City of Detroit Police Department Homicide Unit Detective Kenny Gardner.
Right.
So
and
he'll be
Kenny
on the
Gardner,
program.
you can see him many times when the hit TV show The First 48 Hours come here to Detroit. Many times, Detective Gardner is featured as the lead detective. He's a powerful young man, and have investigated many high-profile homicides here in the city of Detroit. But let's get down to our wonderful guest, what we have today, doing some outstanding things in District 6. Let's welcome Detroit City Councilwoman, District 6, Raquel Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor. It's considering the list of distinguished guests that you've already had and the distinguished guests that you're going to have. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, Councilwoman Lopez, Where is District 6, and where does I know, but for the
Sure,
people, the show is
sure,
reaching 8 to 10
sure.
million people out there in the state of Michigan.
Sure, for sure.
Where does District 6 cover?
Sure, exactly. A lot of people still aren't familiar with the district system, even though we're entering the third year of the city having a district system. It's still kind of new for us. So it's important, I think, to always explain the area. So geographically, the area I represent, I'll do streets and then do my neighborhoods because it's a little bit easier by neighborhoods. So my eastern boundary is John R., so just past Woodward, and I go from the waterfront, that's the southern boundary, eastern boundary is John R., up to about the Wayne State area. Then I cut across 96 and follow that all the way up to West Chicago Joy Road, and then kind of follow the borders with Dearborn, Melvindale, Lincoln Park, all the way down to the 48217 zip code. So in terms of neighborhoods, because that's a little bit easier to visualize, if you think downtown, midtown, Corktown, core cities, Hubbard Farms, Hubbard Richard, Wayne State, Woodbridge, Chadsey Condon, Southwest, Springwells, Delray, 48217 zip code, and then 48204. So it's pretty expansive. It's the largest in terms of population, so I have roughly 106,000 residents that I represent.
Wow.
And for sure the most diverse, not just in terms of race and ethnicity, but in terms of neighborhood types. If you think of downtown and then you think of Delray, two very different communities facing very different challenges.
Now, what I can't understand is you're way over there in Southwest Detroit. How does District 6 come way over here in the John R. area? Because that's close to that's close to District 3 right there. Isn't it?
Oh, not to District 3. So I border, on the eastern side, I border District 5, which
Okay.
Councilmember Sheffield represents.
Okay,
On the
okay.
western, kind of central west side of District 7, where Councilmember Leland represents. And then the kind of northern side, maybe 96, which West Chicago Joy Road areas, borders Cushenberry. So District 3 is northeast side more. So I'm actually
Okay.
completely opposite from, and our borders don't actually touch. So it's the larger, if you look at a map, it's the larger southwest part of the city, but not southwest in terms of the community, southwest in terms of the geographical area.
What are some of the projects that you're working on over there on District 6 right now? Any projects that you're working on, or you're trying to complete some goals, you're trying to make some accomplishments over there in District 6? What projects are you working on now?
Great question. Actually, we at the end of the year last year we had our first annual review and celebration to bring together community members to celebrate the work that we've been doing together. Because I alone, despite being the elected official, I can't accomplish everything if I don't work in partnership with the community and businesses and schools and my colleagues. So we wanted to celebrate all the work that we've done together. So at the end of last year, when we pulled together all of the numbers, we realized, and I'll just say some of those numbers, that we were able to help get over 700 homes signed up for the recycling program in the city of Detroit, which is huge for us, given that there was very few recycling programs established in those communities, and also that we have some of the most polluted zip codes in the state, really. So recycling is only one piece, but we are shooting to be the most recycling district in the whole city. So a small step was made in that direction. We were able to go out and visit many community meetings, myself and my staff, which we call affectionately Team Rocky. I visited over 500 community meetings. I have a summer youth leadership program where we employ kids from the community, and they go out door knocking every single day for about 8 to 10 weeks in the summer, and learn so much about their neighborhoods, learn to overcome different fears and challenges, and really walk away with a sense of pride of being a Detroiter. So with those youth leaders this summer, as well as some college interns and myself, we were able to knock over 10,000 doors this year, which is great exercise. You sleep so much better doing that. But for me as an office, it's really important to stay connected with the residents in the community, and that's why I committed to going out door knocking every single year so I could make sure I can see and hear to what the major concerns are of residents. So those are some of the highlights from last year. We continue to work on the recycling program. We're committed to running the youth leadership program again this year. I'm committed to going out door knocking again this year. The focus is going to shift a little bit really around voter education and voter engagement. As you know, recently the state passed 2 laws that are pretty prohibitive and could really deter Detroiters from getting out to vote. So we want to make sure that people know that they have the right to vote, that they understand the ballot, that they know how to fill out the ballot, and that they know the importance of voting, not just in the general elections, but in the primaries. And not just for the city, but for the state as well. I mean, not just for the presidential election, but for state and city, because it's really local politics that have a direct impact on our daily lives. And so that's going to be a big focus of our office this year.
Okay. So what are some of the projects, and how can the people connect with you on projects, and what are the things that you got work? Do you have any things that you're working on this spring or this summer or throughout the year of 2016 where the community can begin to work with you in partnership with you and team up
Sure.
with you in the District 6 area? Because we got many people from the District 6 area that tunes into this show.
Sure.
And once again, we're here today with Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez.
Yes. So there's lots of ways to get involved. I am one of the only offices in the city to partner with a state representative to have a district service center. So I partner with State Representative Stephanie Chang, whose district covers about 50% of my district, and we have a service center which is open every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's located at 1927 Rosa Parks Boulevard. And so we're actually having our open house and our volunteer kickoff this Friday. I believe at
Friday?
6 p.m. Let me
6
just
p.m.?
double check the time. I should know this, but I have so many events. Sometimes I get the time wrong. Forgive me. This Friday at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
4 to 6 p.m. at our District 6 office. To get people and make sure.
What's that address again?
1927 Rosa Parks Boulevard. It's right off of the corner of Michigan and Rosa Parks. If you remember where the old Tiger Stadium is, a couple blocks down from there. So we are trying to get volunteers signed up to help us door knock throughout the year. That's a big push, is to go out house to house and door knock. That's definitely a way you can get involved. And people sometimes think you have to volunteer every week, even if it's just one day of the year that you can come out and help knock doors to make sure that your neighbors and our communities are informed about what's going on. That's really valuable for us. If you know any youth that are interested in interning in our office, whether they're high school or university level, they can volunteer throughout the year, or they can participate in the Summer Youth Leadership Program. In addition to that, we host community meetings every other month in different parts of the district, and we're really trying to support some of the communities that don't have any nonprofits or any block clubs established to mobilize and start block clubs. So people in those communities, we need them to step up to form CB patrols, to start block clubs. So for specifically, we're thinking the 48208 zip code to help them grow in block clubs. So those are some of the initiatives. Really, we like to focus on civic engagement and how do I empower residents so that they can make the change they want to see in their communities. Because I'm just, again, one person, and it really is about us working collectively as a community together to make sure that we're improving our quality of life in the city of Detroit.
Okay, beautiful. We're here today with Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez, District 6. District 6, Pastor Donetta, do you have a question for Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez?
Since you've been in office, what do you consider to be your greatest accomplishments that you have made thus far for the residents of the city of Detroit?
Sure. I think in terms of the district system, it really lends itself to accountability and transparency. So as an office, I think people value us because we're incredibly transparent, and we strongly believe in that access to information is access to power. So we, rather than being a gatekeeper that you have to go through to get information, we try to be proactive and distribute that as much as possible. So really making sure that residents are informed so that they can make informed decisions about how to change their communities. I think is maybe something that's not that tangible that can say, oh, we had a family fun day and 500 people came, but it's more about systemic change and empowering people to really take control of their own communities. So that's one thing. Another thing is we were successful at pushing forward the conversation around community benefits. So there's a lot of development coming into District 6 and the city as a whole. And on each one of the deals that we've tried to negotiate, we've been able to form a community advisory group, whether it's around the new Gordie Howe Bridge, the new Canada Bridge, whether it was around the hockey arena, or whether it's around some other smaller development projects happening. We've been able to really make sure that the community voice was part of those conversations. And that is really difficult, but it's something that we continue to fight to make sure it happens moving forward.
Now, Councilwoman Lopez, you are on the Detroit City Council. You are one of the Detroit City Council members. Now, does the Detroit City Council help people get jobs? Is there jobs that the Detroit City Council have and that can help people? Because there's a lot of people, once again, this show is reaching anywhere between 8 and 10 million people around the city and the state, and people are looking for jobs. Can you help them?
Sure. So what we try to do is to make sure that we're people again are informed about job opportunities. So I know my office hosts an annual career fair. I know Councilmember Benson owns an annual career fair. I think a couple of the other offices host career fairs to bring together employers and Detroiters to be able to get those jobs. And I know that every single one of us, when we're negotiating deals, is we always ask how many Detroiters are you committed to hiring, both during construction as well as after construction. And the other piece that we try to work on is if an employer can't find qualified applicants, we try to connect them with local groups that know the qualified applicants, or try to get the developer to fund a training program for Detroiters so they can get the skill sets needed to then go into those jobs.
So really, there's no way that they can miss it, as long as they're taking care of business.
Yeah, you just have to be proactive. I'll call. I think call and asking questions. Sometimes we think there's no opportunities and it's just the runaround. People just brush off politicians as being same old, same old. But you have to call. You have to hold us accountable and make sure that we're delivering the information that you need. So yes, if you're looking for a job, it may not be easy, but there's definitely opportunities out there.
How can they get in contact with you? Is there any way they can get in contact with you?
Sure. So we have we have several phone numbers. My office number, the main number is 313-224-2450. For those of you that prefer to email, you can email me at Councilmember Raquel, which is COUNCILMEMBERRAQUEL at detroitmi.gov. So it's kind of long, but it's just Councilmember Raquel, my first name, at detroitmi.gov. Any of you on social media, we like to use Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to make sure we're staying connected with young people in our city. I haven't got Snapchat yet. We'll work on that. But we post a lot of information about scholarship opportunities for young people, about job opportunities, about resource fairs. And you can follow us on Facebook. It's just Councilmember Raquel Castañeda Lopez. On Instagram, it's Raquel, the number 4, Detroit. And it's the same ID on Twitter as well, Raquel, the number 4, Detroit.
So you're doing a lot for the youth.
Yes, I'm very youth focused. I was a social worker before this position. I still am a social worker, and I really focus on youth services and youth empowerment. So when I was at Wayne State, I ran a student service program, helping get first-generation college students into school and to graduate from school. I was a first-generation student, so it's something that's personally very important to me. And then prior to that, I worked in the nonprofit sector for about 10 years, doing mostly after-school youth programming with at-risk youth, and it's really where my heart lies. So we try to incorporate it as much as possible into the work today.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're here today once again with Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez, District 6. Anyone out there in the audience have a question for Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez? Anyone?
Song says, I do.
It's a long answer to that question. Actually, I never wanted to go into politics. It wasn't my professional goal. I was recruited by people in the community to run for office. So people I played soccer with asked me to run, and I said no. People I had gone to school with asked me to run, and I again said no. I think if a lot of Detroiters, or even I think of my family or people who I grew up with, people didn't necessarily vote or talk about politics, and it was the same kind of negative stereotype about politicians, that they're corrupt and they don't care about the community and never listen to our concerns, etc., etc. So in some ways, I had the same vision of politicians. And really, honestly speaking, I didn't start voting until much later in life when I realized the importance of it. So it was a really difficult decision to decide to run for Detroit City Council. I said no for many, many months. And ultimately, it came down to having a conversation with a woman who was a former mentor of my sister's. I grew up in Southwest, and I was part of Alternatives for Girls, a wonderful nonprofit from elementary through high school. And they really inspired me to become a social worker and want to come back and work with youth in the community. And so one of my sister's mentors is a nun, and we had a conversation. I said, I need guidance from God. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And she said, we need someone to represent our community that's going to be balanced and be equitable and understands the challenges, but it also has an outside perspective, because I had left and gone to school and come back. And really, it was my social responsibility to step up into this role. So I thought about it more, and that resonated with me. I didn't want to run because I thought I was the best. I wanted to run because I wanted to give back to my community and those who had invested so much in me. So it really was, after I won, I honestly thought, maybe I don't want to do this. and thought about maybe I should step down. And even the first couple months on council was difficult to kind of find my voice. And when you're the only one, and when I won, I became the first Latina. So there's a lot more scrutiny. It's a great responsibility to be the first. It's a big weight actually to carry. But I take that with a tremendous amount of pride and honor to be the first to serve in this capacity. But it's been a wonderful learning experience. I never envisioned myself in this role, but I love the work I do. I love that I'm able to work with not just youth, but seniors and families and the international community. So just really to be able to give back to so many different people, and to help make sure that maybe mistakes that I made as a young person don't necessarily happen to other people. So that was how.
Oh, that is a blessing. And they, the people, God must have touched those people. God touched those people's heart to come to you, because those people saw something in you where you could get in office and be beneficial, to be a blessing to District 6.
Yes.
And I think they, just my first time meeting you,
Sure.
I think they have a very, very solid leader in District 6.
Thank you.
I think someone with the integrity, someone who cares, not someone, your typical politician who says one thing, and then when the people turn their back, they do another. I see integrity and character in you, and that is a blessing. And those are the type of people that we need in political office, people that's going to get in office and be productive. And we thank God for you, Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez. Pastor Donetta, do you have another question for Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez?
The transition from coming in from your former career into the political arena, how was that, and what did you face as challenges or those things that you brought that made it more easier?
Sure. I mean, I think oftentimes, and I'll be very honest, being a young woman, being a woman of color, being a minority within a majority minority city, it complicates the situation sometimes. And so I had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecurities. I didn't think I had enough political connections. I wasn't smart enough. Who was I, this girl from Southwest, a social worker who's going to enter politics? What would I contribute to that space? So a lot of it really over the past couple years was about recognizing that my voice has value, and it's important, and I'm speaking for a population that often doesn't have a voice at the table. And not referring to Latinos specifically, but people, I think, who grew up in poverty, or people who understand the challenges of and struggle of growing up and living in Detroit neighborhoods, whether it's crime, whether it's living around blight. Those are very real challenges. So when I was campaigning and I went out door to door to talk to people, roughly about 15,000 houses total I visited, that's what resonated with other people. That they were excited that there was this young person from the neighborhood that understood what it was like to have your car broken into, what it's like to deal with different challenges in the neighborhoods, and who was going to kind of champion to make sure that those things change in the city council. So overall, again, I think I'm blessed by every single person that I meet and every story that's shared with me. And I've learned so much just in terms of strength and confidence from my team. I have a wonderful team. Many of them came to my office for not traditional background. They weren't lawyers that have these political background, and some were stay-at-home moms, some were non-traditional college students, some had worked in the nonprofit sector for years, and they came on board to work with me. So I've learned so much from my staff. Councilmember Tate has been a tremendous friend and mentor to me on the city council, and really, again, just staying connected to residents and listening to their concerns, and that helps keep me focused and grounded. So it's been great.
Tell Councilmember Tate I said hello.
I will.
Because Councilmember James Tate has spoke at my church. I have a church too. He has spoke at my church. Councilmember Spivey has spoke at my church also. Councilmember Tate is a friend of mine. Tate's a good guy.
Yeah, we always joke who has the better district, District 6 or District 1. He comes to eat more often in my district.
All right. What a show today. What a show today here today with Detroit City Councilwoman Raquel Lopez. Wasn't it beautiful?
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was great.
Thank
All
you.
right. And we'll see you next Saturday at 2:30 p.m. right here on The Community Shall Be Restored. And I'm your host, Prophet Banks, along with
Prophetess Donetta Banks.
And we'll see you next Saturday right here.
Let's say that again. I really do.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of W33BY, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.